Happy Monday, everyone.
Good morning.
How are ya?
Look at you all curly.
I know, right? I just decided to kind of let it go natural this morning. So we'll see how that turns out. Who knows, right? Feeling a little bit jazzy. Hey guys.
I'm impressed that you don't do that more.
Well, I do sometimes. I don't know. It depends on how I feel.
Well,
Depends
it's
on how I
very
feel.
fitting for today's quote.
Right? It is. So I love this. So you guys, we're here with Mindset Monday. My name is Nicole. This is Kayla, our co-host, and this is our chance to unite as independent advocates, kick our week off with a positive mindset where we set it off with like purpose and positivity. And today's quote is all about authenticity. So that's why Kayla just said what she said. I love it. So this quote hopefully will remind us why showing up authentically for our clients is so important and ourselves, right? So whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, we are so glad that you're here. Let's get started, Kayla. What is this quote?
Yeah, so today's quote comes to us from Miss Brene Brown, and it's authenticity is the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. For those who don't know, Brene Brown is a researcher and storyteller who spent 2 decades studying courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy. Her work is incredible. If you're not familiar with it, just as an aside, I would encourage you to check out some of her stuff. You can find her on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. She also wrote a book, Atlas of the Heart, and you can find that on Max. It's multiple sections. So if you wanted to watch it, if you're not a book reader, I am, but if you're not, you can catch Atlas of the Heart, which is amazing content from Brene Brown. And like I said, it's on HBO Max, that channel. So
Huh, I'll have to
if
check
you
that
want to
out.
catch that, it's amazing. She's phenomenal, 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 phenomenal. So I love this quote.
Yes.
Right? Um, I don't know about you, Kayla. This is a struggle every day. Probably one of the reasons I need this session every Monday to kind of remember how to show up authentically and let go of who I think I'm supposed to be, because that really trips me up regularly. Um, in fact, I think I've shared frequently, and if I haven't, I'm sorry, I should have, about how when I was in corporate healthcare, I my team would always know when corporate was coming to visit our site or if I was going to corporate because I showed up differently.
Mm,
I looked differently. I dressed different, like the whole thing, right? And so when I hear this quote, that's what I think about is how inauthentic I
hmm.
showed up for years and years and years in my career, and how today, like you said, like showing up with my curly hair, like it just is what it is because that's what I'm doing today. I have curly hair. Sometimes it looks great, sometimes it doesn't. But this is what you get on a Monday morning when I decide to go au natural. So, yeah, I what are your thoughts on that?
So I love authenticity. We've talked about I know I've mentioned this before that I've been a very authentically myself since before like it was a trend. I don't do well with trying to fit in a box or mask. I did spend years trying to figure that out and it just did not work. But something you mentioned when you were working in corporate, you found this a lot, and it's so true. Like when we are employees of anybody, there are rules and expectations that we have no choice but to conform to, and for good reason. I mean, that's part of running an organization is like the organization of the people. But we have to keep in mind that here in our practice as independent patient advocates, that's no longer the case. And we have the freedom to show up exactly as we are with all of our gifts and flaws and faults all combined, because the more that we are showing up in our full true nature, the more we get to access our true inner power and to bring that forward for our business and our clients. And it sounds a little woo, but it is like so powerful. And I think if you have a little moment of reflection, you can probably find a time where this is true for you. I know personally, I it's funny, like the more I get into my business, the more I'm starting to question some of the assumptions I've made about myself over the years.
I love that.
I've always considered myself to be an introverted person, and like in parties and going through high school, like I was the wallflower, or I was only at this like one table, a group of people, and like I never felt comfortable around most people. And I, from that, assumed I'm just an introverted person. I don't like being around people. I find it exhausting. And what I'm finding more and more is I love being around people, but the right ones and the ones that I can in a when it's in a place where I can show up in my true unadulterated form. Now that's not the same as unfiltered, right? Like, you know,
Right.
there's a time and a place to say things, but I'm no longer I show up, I think about it in like business things and networking. And, I'm showing up to represent my business, and my business is a reflection of me. So it's just finding that pathway and having that mental shift has just been huge. And I know I'm like going on a rant here, but
It's right on topic.
it's been so good for my business, because
Hmm.
you think about it, like the leaders and speakers who you've ever found yourself moved by or connected with, they are truly speaking from the heart. My business is very mission driven and from the heart, and it comes across very clearly when I'm showing up this way. So it's also allowing me to have a greater impact and to get closer to reaching all the people I'm trying to serve, because my message is so undiluted.
Right. So, and it's so hard, like you said, a little bit woo, but not really, right? Like the whole idea of I liken this to dogs and children. Dogs and children are super good judges of character, right? And know instantaneously the people and I think somewhere as we grow up, we lose this. And I think we lose it because it gets overshadowed by who we think we're supposed to be.
Mhm.
Right. And we're so focused on, okay, I need to show up the right way. I need to say the right things. I need to look the right part. I need to, like, all of this stuff that mentally is taking up all of this space in our brain to do it right, quote unquote, right? Um, and we get so tied up in that we forget that true connection between humans happens at a totally different level than the clothes that I have on, the words that I use, the way that I move, the style of my hair, right? Like all of that stuff. Humans connect on an emotional level, right? And in order for us to actually have really good human connections, we have to be authentic
Mhm.
because we as humans recognize when people are not.
Mhm.
Right? And so for us to show up, do our best work, have our best relationships, serve our clients at the highest level, it requires that we peel back the things that we think we're supposed to be and get to the things that we are and just owning who we are and showing up there and working to improve that. I mean, that's not to say there's not improvements to be made, right? Like, but just the core of who we are and embracing that. And I love the word in this quote where it says, the daily practice.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Yes, right? Because that's what this is. Like, it doesn't just happen. Like, we have to practice every
Mhm,
day.
mhm.
And, this is one of those things where this is where the work takes place.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah, and
anyway, right?
especially, like, it's another one of those things, like, once you open your eyes to see this and realize it and understand it, then you're faced the next level is, like, all the deprogramming that you have to do. Like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I feel like for me, a lot of this, like, stems from childhood, and you
Mhm.
go to school and you gotta sit in this spot for this amount of time to do this thing for years.
Yes.
And then
Right?
I for me, I had pressures from my parents to, I had to get a real job. I wanted
Right?
to get into
Yeah.
design work and graphic design and whatnot. And if, if you've seen any of the stuff that I make for my business, it makes sense that I would want to get into graphic design or interior design. Those were my ideas. And, my parents were definitely like had my best interests at heart. It's part of it was complicated. I graduated right after like the housing market and stock market
Mm,
collapse in the early, 2000, like 2008. I
2000s.
graduated 2010. So risk taking was not encouraged.
Right.
But
Right?
it just further compounded that, like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, and created quite a bit of cognitive dissonance that took me years to identify, and then even more work to get away from that and to give
Right.
myself the grace and the space to be who I am. And for me, this closely ties into a topic we talked about several weeks ago with
Mm,
Alex Sharfin's continuum of self love.
mhm,
Because one of the things that came up was I did have a lot and still work around a lot of like self judgment for some of the, like, why are you this way? Like that being my inner monologue. And so that ties in a lot with this authenticity of, okay, I am this way. It doesn't have to be a negative thing.
right. Right. And I think that's where it's talking about embracing it, right? Like
Mhm,
just
mhm.
being okay with who we are. And for me, you guys, like I often tie this back to my health journey, my personal health journey, because I find that so many of these quotes actually resonate with me in that space. Over the last year, I've taken a huge turn in the way that I'm taking care of my physical body. And I thank you. Yeah, it's been really fun.
I've
And
been
I
so
think
proud of you
about
watching it.
thank you. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm learning a lot. I am learning so much about what that looks like. And of course, that just means that I totally forgot what talking point that I was going to make about that, but that's okay. No, I mean, it's just gone. It actually wasn't one of the ones that I had written down, so I don't know. It's just gone. But I think it had to do with embracing who we are. That's what it was. It was about embracing who I am. One of the things that I am not a class person. Like I've never been one of those people. I want to go to spin class or bar class or like fitness, like that kind of thing. I'm a solo exerciser. Like I like to just zone. And so in fact, not only that, but it has to be super easy. Like I can't have to go out of my way. Not like a super easy lift. So I say that to say we have a fitness center here at the front of our apartment complex. And my husband says, "Oh, just go up there." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I won't." And he's like, "Yeah, but you can. You can just go up there." And I'm like, "Yes, I understand, but I won't." Like, I just know that that's who I am. I have to be something that I can do right here, right? Like the step
Mhm.
machine that I have next to me that I can do while I'm working. Things, but if I have to make an extra effort, I am incredibly lazy when it comes to that. I just am. And like, it's not like I'm a lazy person. I just know that that's how I am. That if it's easy for me to do, I will do it. If I have to
Mhm.
take extra effort, I will not. It's just who I am. And I would say that over the last year, I've just kind of gotten okay with that. And
Right.
I no longer wake up in the morning and go, you should go to the gym. Why aren't you going to the gym? You should walk up there to the fitness center. And then spending the whole day berating myself because I didn't go to the fitness center.
Yeah.
Instead, I've learned, like, I can have a step machine here in my apartment. I have free weights in my apartment. I can stretch. I can do body weight. I can do all kinds of neat little things here in my apartment and not have to berate myself for not going to the fitness center. That's the part of that embracing who I am that I've had to work at and continue to work at. So, in the daily practice, all of that, right? That's Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear some other folks' challenges. Like, how do you I mean, come on, let it out. Like mine is that I'm lazy and I don't do the thing. Like that's the monologue that I'm trying to,
I hate to
constantly
use the
overcome.
word lazy though, because that has so much like implied judgment.
It's okay. It's okay because you know what? I am learning to change my personal connotation and feeling around that word.
Okay. Fair enough then.
Because I mean, truly, because lazy can just mean that I don't want to go out of my way. Because really, in the way that I use lazy, it could be efficient,
There you go.
right? I want to be super efficient with my time, which means that I don't have an extra hour to just walk up to the fitness center and just do the fitness center. I need to be like, while I'm doing that, listening to something, being productive, like, so you could, like, that's the connotation that I'm trying to take that to. I use lazy for dramatic effect.
But that story you shared, I mean, that is a really good depiction of how we move from self-judgment and take away the emotion of those aspects of you that aren't perhaps the way that you want them. And some of them can be like some things you can change about yourself, but some things like these are the inherent ingredients of the way that you were put together. And it doesn't need to be
Easy.
good or bad. We just need to find how to maximize it and get the most from it. And I think that's
Ooh,
another piece of this like authenticity. That's another aspect of it.
right? I love what you just said. I love that. It's not good or bad. It just is. And
Mhm.
that you're right. That's where I came to with that word lazy, efficient, whatever. That thing. It's not I used to use it as a crutch to say that's why I couldn't be healthy,
Mm.
right? When the reality is that's not true. If I redefine that word for me and I get okay with that word and that principle, then I can find other alternatives and still be healthy,
Right. Exactly.
So I think that so much of the time we get this what is supposed to be, and it actually creates a barrier to not
Mhm.
just our authenticity, but in a lot of aspects, our success or whatever that is, that outcome that we're
Right.
wanting,
Yeah. No,
it
the
gets in the way.
authenticity, like the six, I'll piggyback on that. The
Mhm.
success for whatever aspect you're trying to define your health journey, your professional journey, this advocacy practice. The success requires you fully showing up, and you can only fully show up if you're looking at all of the parts of yourself, not just the ones that fit neatly in the box or that you like. Like the
And
power
that's
is in the whole thing. So you got
the
to
thing.
find a
That's
way to
right.
take the whole thing, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and
Mhm.
reconcile it, strip the emotion away, and just find the way that it works.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the key, right? Because I just can't because I was thinking about that this morning. I had a great weekend this weekend. My friend came up for my birthday. We hung out all weekend. We did a lot of fun stuff. I cheated on my diet a little bit, like it was not, I mean, it was not crazy, but it was, it was a great weekend. And as she left yesterday and I was getting back into the routine for the week, and I thought, how cool that I have found a way that I can live and eat and breathe and exercise in such a way that this weekend, like, it didn't scare me to think about, oh my gosh, am I ever going to be able to get back into my routine? Um, I don't, I don't know. Oh, are we having tech issues?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you just fine.
Well,
I don't
that's good.
know. Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Let's see. Denise made a comment in here. Let's see. Things I want to change about myself or behavior. Denise wants to allow herself 3 months to develop a habit, one step at a time. Make yourself accountable to changing that one behavior and remind yourself why it was important to you in the first place. Right, right. And I love this because this ties into the fourth quarter book that we selected for the Advocates Book Nook. Oh, I hope she's here. Um, we just lost Kayla for just a minute. We'll see what happens with that. There we go. So Denise wants to make a change, and I love this. Oh, for fourth quarter, the Wheel of Selection actually picked up Start with Why from Simon Sinek, and you guys know that I love this book. Because here's what it is. So for me and my health journey is I want to stay off of medications. Like I don't want to get on medications. And so the motivation for everything that I do, everything that I put into my body, everything, it's all about how do I maintain my health such that I don't need to manage it with medications. That's my goal. And you're right, Denise, going back to that one thing that has driven you to make these changes is powerful in keeping in achieving some of those goals. And yes, little tiny bits at a time, daily practice, try every single day to make just a little bit of improvement, right? And be nice and gentle. I tell my son all the time, and I have to remind myself, slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race. So, whatever that one thing is, focus on it, incorporate it, love it, breathe it, and ingrain it into your being, and then move to the next little thing. And before you know it, you'll be, for me, I'm doing 5 to 7 miles every single day now. So, and I couldn't hardly walk a mile a year ago. And that's the truth. So that's how that is. I love it. I wish I knew what had happened to Kayla, but that's okay, you guys. We can keep moving on. She'll be back, I'm sure, when she gets her camera working right again. Let's see. All right. So just to kind of recap for those of you that are here, it's great to see you, Denise. If you are here, drop in the comments. Let us know that you're here. Um, so last week we talked about a quote from Lamott. It was almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. So we focused on the importance of stepping back, resting, recharging, not just for productivity, but for our overall well-being, right? So there's the lesson last week was clear. Sometimes we just need to pause to continue showing up as our best selves for the people we serve. This week, our quote from Brene Brown takes that idea just a little bit further by encouraging us to be authentic as we return from those moments of rest, right? So while we unplug to recharge, it's equally as important to reconnect with who we truly are. And authenticity is the foundation of sustainable well being and powerful connections with others. So, just like the need to unplug, practicing authenticity allows us to show up in ways that are genuine and impactful. So, hopefully, I don't know, we've got just a few minutes left. I'm hoping that she's going to jump back on. Let's talk about our call to action. So, as you enter into the new week, we're going to challenge you to think about how you can be more authentic in your work and your personal and professional interactions. So ask yourself, can I let go of the expectations right now and embrace my true self a little bit more fully? Looking forward to seeing your thoughts, your experiences in the comments. So let's start a conversation about how authenticity has made an impact in your practice. So Kayla mentioned a little bit ago that when she started to implement some of this true authenticity work and practicing it daily, she's seeing a big impact in her practice. I would venture to say, I know how it impacted my practice. It started the ball rolling on regular and consistent client referrals. And it really started to bring some consistency to the revenue stream in my business. So and I know that sounds crazy, like, but it is true. So I'm going to say, try to embrace that, right? Try to practice authenticity a little bit more and release just one of those limiting expectations that you have on yourself this week, and see what happens in some of your interactions with your clients, your family, your friends. See what happens with that. Oh, here she comes. Maybe. Let's go back here. Are you
Can
there?
you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you,
Okay.
but
I
we can
know.
hear
It
you.
won't connect
I
to my
know. It's okay.
camera.
I don't know. I was just pulling it all together, Kayla, kind of saying, challenging folks to try to implement a little bit, like ask yourselves, where can I let go of an expectation and embrace myself more fully? And because I know, and I don't want to speak for you, but for me, when I started actually doing this work in my day to day, it really did make the difference in starting to generate a stream of referrals into my business and new
Mhm.
clients. It helped me gain some stability in my practice because I was able to start really connecting with the clients that I'm designed to serve, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and I
so
think
I
as far as our independent patient advocacy practices, that's the most powerful piece of this. But also
right.
to piggyback on that, the last thing that I wanted to make sure I mentioned was this also comes down to how we're running our business. So for
Mm,
most of us, we did not come to advocacy because we wanted to start a business. It was because we were called to it. And then figuring out how to start and run a profitable business has come afterwards. And that's, of course, one of the goals of the circle. But
mhm.
that being said, it's important to have mentorship and to have an understanding of how other people have made, started and grown their business. But it should never be the goal to be copying or mimicking how or what they have done, because their business is theirs, and it's showing up in a way that highlights their gifts, which is never going to be the same as yours.
Mhm.
So that was just the last piece of that
Yeah,
for me. When Nicole shares
right.
what works in her business, and when I share what works in my business, and so on and so forth, like, always pick up on the common themes, but never try to do exactly what someone else has done, because you are not them. And that's a good
Right.
thing, because you're also meant to target and serve slightly different people. That's why,
Right.
it takes all of us, because we're not all doing it the same.
I love it. Right. Right. And Jules, I see your comment there. Finding the balance is hard when creating content about medical bills and also storytelling. And you know what? The reason I'm calling out your comment right now is because I'm going to challenge you to see if there's some expectation inside that comment that you could let go of. And the reason that I say that is because I too specialize in the world of billing and health insurance. And I'm telling you, after every presentation that I do, somebody says to me, I had no idea you make that look so fun. And it's and the reason that I say that is because I bet there's some expectation that you might be able to work on letting go of around that statement. that you can find some success in. I would love to chat with you more about that. So connect with me if you'd like to do that. We are out of time today. So that is a wrap on today's Monday Mindset. We are so grateful for this crazy community of independent patient advocates. I am so crazy excited and grateful. Hope today's quote on authenticity empowers you in work and your personal life this week. So be sure to share how you're applying it in your advocacy practice. And we'll see you here next Monday for more inspiration. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.